The force field effect. Okay, so I got a good story for this. So I was asked, I was finishing off my induction training, and we had an Australian fleet, totally manned nationally by Australians, crew, engineers, tech officers, and six vessels, and they had been protected for years and years by cabotage and unions, and they were not really picked on by international regulators and stuff like that. And that was lovely. But rules and regulations were changing, and now they were going to start the amalgamated into the international fleet, and their safety statistics were going to influence the safety statistics of the international fleet that we had. The international fleet's TRCF, total recordable case frequency, is about 1.2. That was quite bad, 1.2. A good year would be 0.9. And the Australian fleet was 6.2, which was horrible. And once that fleet was going to be amalgamated into ours, our TRCF would jump to 2 and a bit by the time it all got averaged out. And that would influence our hireability worldwide. Okay. Now there was time coming. We knew that it was going to take time, and they weren't going to be amalgamated like that. So I get a call from the general manager, and myself and Steve had a lot of success with the induction programs and stuff like that. And he calls us into his office, and the Australian fleet manager is there as well. And he goes, "Dave and Steve, come in here for a minute. We'd like you to go down and fix Australia." Me and Steve look at each other. He goes, "Really? That's the task you want us to achieve today, is it?" I know we've had a little bit of success, but fixing the continent is a little bit of a stretch, don't you think? Anyway, they chuckled and they understood that it was just fixing the Australian fleet. And people have gone down before. We had heard of superintendents we had training superintendents who had moved around the international fleet, and they were trying to spread the word in the Australian fleet. And they were very, very protected and isolated, and no one ever got on board. Part of the reason why some of the trainers used to go down and try to get on in Australia, one of them in particular was, as he was getting on the gangway, the Australian seafarers brought him off to the side in the back of a shed, put a gun in his mouth and said, "Go home now." Man's like, "No problem at all. I can take a hint." Gone. A few more guys went down after the fact. They were threatened with life-threatening disabilities as well, and never really took off the ground. And so when they said to go down and fix Australia, I'm up for a challenge. I'm thinking, yahoo, let's go. And Steve's like, "Man, we're going to get ourselves killed." And a distinct possibility, yes, I understand. So they said, how would you like to achieve that? And they kind of just basically gave us ultimate control in 2 or 3 words. How do you want to approach that? And I said, well, in the past, it hasn't gone well, us going on board a ship. One, it'll be us against them. I don't even know if I get on a ship, and I don't want to have the back of my head blown off. So let's not do that. So all of a sudden, previously I had a great mentor, fleet trainer, and he said, whenever you're designing these things, Dave, always think blue sky. And I go, blue sky? Yes, the sky's the limit. So whenever they ask you for something like this, give them the ideal picture of all the resources you need, and they'll cut it back a little bit, but in the best form, you'll have your course. And I go, all right. So I said, well, first off, we're going to need to get these people off the ships. All right, we can't do it on board ship. It won't work at all. So we're going to run it similar to the inductions, fly them into Australia, into your offices, so they get to meet you as the managers, the ladies who plan their flight, the logistics department, supply and demand, you name it. Everyone's going to be there. And the fleet manager's going, well, that's going to be pricey. General manager's like, yep, no problem. First request done. We'll also need to, how long do I have to do this? He goes, and the fleet manager goes, I want it done yesterday. As all projects are. And so, no, that was going to happen. So this, I think, was in March. And they said they want it all done by Christmas time. And I go, all right, well, let's take a look at your schedule. 300 guys, 30 guys a lecture. Plus, I'm still doing my other job. Plus, I'd like a little bit of leave. That would be nice as well. I can only go down to Australia 13 times between now and Christmas. And these are the weeks. And how many people you will get there. And then poof, just mathematically, we found out we weren't going to get it done. Just the sheer mathematics of 30 people per course and yada, yada, yada. And then, so we had a few more on the next year and said, okay, by this time next year, we will have 100% compliance. And also, when we're delivering the message for this to the fleet, it is 100% mandatory to come. Okay, none of this, skiving off and missing, of course. If you didn't come, you weren't put back to sea, no longer had a job, all that good stuff. So with that, then we said, all right, then we're gonna have to mix these guys up. So you're not gonna just take 30 guys off a ship where they do the crew change and bring them all in. They'll all be very, very tight knit and closed lip and all their problems. So we wanted to spread it out. So a few people over here, a few people from that vessel, a few people from here, bring them all in. Not just teaching from 9 to 5. We wanted to start at noontime on Monday so these guys could stroll in and not be, and all kinds of stuff just to accommodate these guys. So you got to imagine heavily unionized seafarers unions. Okay, they've already put a gun in some guy's poor mouth about how receptive they are to change. Okay, so we wanted to really, not necessarily butter them up. We wanted to have them off guard a little bit and more on our territory than theirs. Okay, just to soften the blow, really. And so that also we put in a whole bunch of social functions and so forth and so on to get them on our side, get them talking in the nighttime and problems. And also with that, we wanted to have them to fix whatever problems they came with. We wanted to have it fixed. If the course was 4 days, we wanted to have everything implemented and changed and fixed fleet-wide in that 3 or 4 days so they could see their changes happening. So they want to be part of the solution. Okay? And then with that, we had to teach them the why. Why was this important? Okay? If you don't teach the why and get the hearts and minds of people, forget about it. It's going to die a death as soon as they leave the room. So when someone comes up with a problem, they go, man, this was a bad idea, this sucked. We're like, yep, we totally agree with that. No problem at all. And the only reason we had to do that is because we were forced. Okay? I'll use, hot work level 3. And all of a sudden, hot work level 3, we had to go to, couldn't issue it on board ship anymore and had to go to the office, for an example. And this was time consuming, quite restrictive, and the guys didn't like it. And we're like, yep, we totally understand that. No superintendent in London likes it either, an international fleet. But every time we are being vetted by SIRE, they used to ding us all the time for points. Okay? We tried to push back, but still we're getting dinged. So then we just had to cave. And now hot work number 3 has to be approved by the office. And they're like, well, why didn't you tell us that in the first place? Right? They just hated being told what to do. That's the mentality we're working against. They just hated being told. If they were explained to, they thought, treated like adults, then there you go. They would have accepted it, no problem at all, and no questions asked. Bam, all of a sudden, like that, hot work permits not an issue anymore. Fair enough. Anyway, that's my little story. I've gone way too long and explained this little topic, but getting the hearts and minds of people and the force field effect, planning to overcome that force field in advance, priceless. It's like MasterCard. There you go. All right, guys, that's my story of the Australians and their force field all in themselves.